Great job, Kruthi. Alina, that looks excellent. Excellent, Alexander. I see you wrote some extras as well. Circumstance. Nice job.
Actually, Miss Gardner, I got expense and response wrong on the test, so I just practiced them.
Great thought. Yeah, I love that you're doing extras for the ones that you get wrong. That's a great idea. Okay, nice job, Aryansh, Sahanasri, Alina, Alexander. Okay, boys and girls, let's erase our boards now and take out things for a new spelling lesson. By the way, if you have not done so already, I want you to submit a video of you reciting the crocodile. Thumbs up if you did already submit that video. I have not gone through all of them yet, but that is the last poem that we're going to do for a grade for this semester. But this week we are going to learn a new little short one called For Want of a Nail. Okay? So we'll do that after our spelling lesson. This is one that we've talked about a little bit when we did Black Beauty, because it's all about what happens if a single tiny nail is missing from a horseshoe. You might think that's no big deal. It's just one little nail. But it could have disastrous consequences. Do you remember what happened in Black Beauty because of a loose nail? Can anybody tell me what happened in Black Beauty because of that loose nail? Dikshita?
So the writer, so CD, is it CD Sam?
It was, that's right, Marcus. It was Reuben Smith.
Reuben Smith. So he didn't saw the horseshoe, the nail. It didn't fit Black Beauty. So Black Beauty got her knees hurt, and Reuben Smith died.
Exactly. Reuben Smith died. That was the worst part of it. And Black Beauty's knees were hurt. And not just knees hurt. What happened to Black Beauty because his knees were hurt?
The owner for the Black Beauty, he had to sell him.
That's right. And he ended up in a lot of bad homes with bad owners because of his bad knees, because he wasn't considered as nice of a horse after that.
Jerry was a good owner. Miss Gardner.
That's true, Alina. Sweetheart, I need Alina and Samhita, both of you, to make sure that you are not unmuting yourself unless you have permission. Yes, ma'am?
I actually know the poem.
Good. Very nice. We'll go over it in just a little bit after our spelling lesson.
Whenever you said it in the video, I just started saying it to myself, so now I know it.
It's nice. It's really all about cause and effect, how some little things sometimes can make a big difference. So we'll talk about that later. Right now, let's get things ready for our spelling lesson. So since our test is on Thursday, we only have 3 spelling lessons this week. Now, our first word today is the word acquire. Would you all say acquire? Again, say acquire. Harika, Ben, would you say it? Excellent. Now, acquire means to get something. Like you could say, I acquired a sled to be able to go sledding down the hill, which means you got it. Or I acquired an A on the test that I studied for, or a gold medal for a race. So it means to get, acquire. Now we think to spell this word acquire, and it sounds sort of like the word choir, like people singing, but it's not like that type of choir. So get that one out of your mind. I know we had that as a spelling word a couple months ago, but it's not going to be like that one. Okay, put your fingers under your chin, please, to say acquire, which is our thing to spell. Acquire, 2 syllables. In our first syllable, what sounds do you hear? A, k, 2 sounds. That's a k, s. This is an unstressed syllable, so it's a, aw, saying an sound. Next syllable, what sounds do you hear? Qua, I, 3 sounds. Let's try that again. Everybody say it along with me. Qua, I, 3 sounds. That's the normal phonogram qua, never use Q without U. And I says its name because of a silent final E, job 1. Please sound it out as you write, acquire. Syllable break. Sorry, let me rewrite that one. That was a little bit messy. Syllable break. Qua, I, silent final E. Acquire. Thumbs up if you spelled that word the same as me. Excellent. Let me see from everybody a thumbs up if they spelled it correctly. We've got video working perfectly without being at school, so I can see everybody right away. This is so nice. Okay, in our first syllable, what markings do we need? Please, everybody show me with your arms what markings we need here. Thank you, Alina. Thank you, Kruti and Arianch and Samhita. I should see everybody else following along. Sahanasri, great job. Come on, Ben, Arshad, Brishith. I should see you showing me markings. Marcus, Emma? Acquire is the way we say it. Good. We're going to put a thinking cap here. And this, good job, Arianch, is silent. We say acquire. Moving on, show me the next markings, boys and girls. Great job, Alina. Should see everybody else doing it as well. Great job, Sahanasri. It's qua, never use Q without U. Moving on, we've got I saying its name because of a silent final E, job 1. And that is part of the vowel consonant vowel pattern. To acquire means to get something. It's a verb. Our next word is a near synonym, means something very similar. The word is receive. Would you all say receive? Receive also means to get something, although with this one, it specifically means that somebody is giving you something. Like, I received a present from my friend for Christmas. Receive. Would you all say receive? Receive. Or Ariansh received a snack from his parent. Is that what you were getting just now, Ariansh, a little snack?
Yes.
So everybody please say receive. Good, receive. Receive has, we're going to use the spelling rule I before E except after C for this one. So instead of the EI piece of pie phonogram, it's going to be the AE phonogram since it's CEI. Okay, sound out receive. Receive. 2 syllables. Alexander, stay seated, please. Thank you. And the first syllable, what sounds do you hear? E. 2 sounds. Great job, Sahanasri. E says its name in an open syllable in this word. Ben, help me sound out the sounds in the next syllable. Receive. What do you hear? S. E. What's next? S. E. Receive. Good job. Okay, so S is K. S. And we're going to use AE that we do not use at the end of English words after that because of the spelling rule I before E except after C. And do we end English words with V? No, what do we need at the end of this word? Silent final E, job 2. Please write receive. E, syllable break. S, E, V, silent final E. Receive. If you misspelled it, please cross it out and rewrite it. Great job, Ariancha. I like seeing your work. Okay, receive. With your arms, please show me markings. Receive. E says its name. Marcus, what markings do we need in the next syllable? Good job, Samhita.
Underline if I'm correct.
Underline what?
IE.
Very good.
EI.
And we say the phonogram as AE. Do you say AE?
AE.
Good. This one is called AE that we do not use at the end of English words. Moving on, Josiah, what do we need for the next part? What markings?
We need to put a silent final E. Job number 1.
It's going to be a job 2 because of the V. But excellent. We do have that silent final E mark. Now, Josiah, what part of speech do you think this is? If I were to say in the sentence, he wants to receive a Lego set for Christmas. What part of speech is that?
A verb.
Good. It's an action verb. Okay, boys and girls, the next one is a word that you may be unfamiliar with. The next word is almanac. Would you all say almanac? Has anybody heard this word before, almanac? Or maybe you've heard of a farmer's almanac specifically? No? Oh, nobody. Wow. Okay. Oh, wow. Arianch has some almanacs. Now, traditionally, an almanac is a book that basically predicts weather patterns. So most of us, just watch the weather or look at a weather app on a phone to tell us what the weather should be in the next 7 to 10 days. But farmers, they are so dependent on weather that almanacs help guide them by predicting weather basically for the next year. It may not be very precise because you can't predict weather completely, but an almanac tells what the patterns of weather could be. Let me present my screen so you can see what this looks like. And Arianch has an almanac that is not telling about weather. Could you tell us what that almanac tells you, Arianch? But
it technically tells me it's like a normal book.
Yep, here is a second definition for almanac. A handbook typically published annually containing information of general interest or on a sport or pastime. So that one comes out every year, just like a farmer's almanac, but it looks like that one might be more about animals. Is that right?
No, it just has a cool cover. It's not really just about animals. It has cool technology, history, and all that stuff. It even has a picture of the Colosseum.
Yeah, I saw the Colosseum on the back. Very cool. Okay, so there's the Farmer's Almanac. There's things like this, the World Almanac and Book of Facts. So it doesn't have to be just about weather, but traditionally that's what they were for. Oh, Josiah has an almanac too. And probably any almanac you pick up has a date on there. So it's always going to tell you the year. Okay, we're going to pronounce this word when we finish the spell. Almanac. Almanac. Could you sound it out with me? Almanac. 3 syllables. What are the sounds in the first syllable? A, O. 2 sounds. And the second syllable, what sounds do you hear? M, A, N. 3 sounds. Basic code. And finally, almanac. What do you hear? A, K. 2 sounds. This is a K, making its first sound at the end. Please pick up your pencil and write almanac. You can think to spell almanac. Got a lot of a-ahs in this word. Every vowel is an a-ah. Even though they say different sounds. Please show me a thumbs up when you're done writing it. Okay. A, O, syllable break. M, A, N, syllable break. A, K, almanac. This is an unstressed syllable. That's why it says an sound, almanac. Okay, in our first syllable, boys and girls, let's count off the sounds of a-ah and think about which one it's saying in the word. A-ah. Which sound of a-ah do we pronounce? Show me with your fingers. Thank you, Arianch. Almanac. A, or ah. Good job, Alexander. 3 on top of the a, ah. Over here, almanac. How do we mark this? Almanac. It's an unstressed syllable. What do we do? Thank you, Kruthi, Samhita, and Josiah. Thinking cap. And over here, almanac. This one is basic code, no markings needed. You can just show me like a little X. Show no markings. So this is a book, like a handbook that comes out every year. What part of speech would a book be? Alina? Can't hear her. So boys and girls, just say it to the camera. What part of speech?
A noun.
Oh, no, it finally worked. There is still quite a delay on your computer, unfortunately.
It would be a noun.
Thank you, Alina. Okay, boys and girls, last word now. Our last word today comes from French origin. So there is an unusual phonogram, which we're going to get to. Uh-oh. The camera is not working for me, boys and girls. I'm going to have to leave the call and come right back. Much better. Okay, boys and girls, our next word is lieutenant. Would you all say lieutenant? Lieutenant. Now, a lieutenant is like a junior officer in the Army, or you can even hear this word used for like police officers or people who are like firefighters. So lieutenant means they're an officer, so they kind of lead other people, but they're one of the junior ones. In contrast to, didn't we have major, like a major general would be somebody higher. So lieutenant is a little bit lower. Yes, Alexander?
My uncle is Lieutenant Justin.
Lieutenant Justin? Because that's his name? Do you call him that?
He actually served in the Army, but now he's becoming a police officer.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, that will transfer over, I'm sure, really well. He'll be a great police officer, I'm sure. So lieutenant is our word. In this word, we have an unusual phonogram that's spelled I-E-U, and it's sort of like the OO phonogram, but there's also an I in there, lieutenant. Okay, would you sound out lieutenant? Lieutenant, 3 syllables. Let's try that again. Lieutenant, 3 syllables. Our first syllable has what sounds? O, oo, 2 sounds. Once again, kind of think of the OO phonogram, but there's also an I in front of it, okay? And the second syllable, what sounds do you hear? T, a, n, 3 sounds, lieutenant. That's like the number 10. And finally, last syllable, ant, lieutenant, a, n, t. Just like a little ant. Okay? Pick up your pencil and write lieutenant. ol, u, syllable break, t, n, syllable break, and t, lieutenant. That's the unusual phonogram. If you made any mistakes, please cross it out and rewrite it. Okay, so lieutenant, we're going to underline this as an unusual phonogram. We also could just say this is the OU phonogram and the I is silent, but all of it works together as an unusual French phonogram. Dikshita, you are so sweet to help your brother. Is there any way you can come back over? You are so good with him. Okay, so lieutenant, this is basic code. Last syllable is unstressed, so we're going to put a thinking cap on that at a ah. And this word is a noun if we're talking about just like the person being a lieutenant, or it could describe the rank of general, like a lieutenant general. So that modifies a noun, which makes it an adjective. Okay, let's finish up with writing a dictated sentence. Let's keep it pretty short. We'll just say the lieutenant received an almanac. What is the sentence? The lieutenant received, making it a past tense, an almanac. Please write the sentence. Yes, Dikshita?
I think we already did receive in the other lesson.
Oh, I guess it's possible. There have been a couple other times, like circle, when we had that twice.
Oh.
It's possible.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thumbs up if you are done writing the sentence. And give everybody else a little more time. Harika, are you still working on it, sweetheart?
Yeah, what's the sentence again?
The lieutenant received an almanac. Is that your smoke detector, Josiah? The beeping? You know what the beeping sound is?
Me doing this.
What is it?
I'm done.
Me just doing this.
Okay, let's check our sentence now. The lieutenant received oh, I forgot to put the 2 on top of the AE before for receive. By the way, you could do that as well. Well, actually, and then we'll just underline all of that edita An almanac. Okay. Does anybody have some sentences that they created that they'd like to share? Samhita, can I hear yours?
The lieutenant officer received an almanac about the majority of burglary every year.
Interesting. Using majority from recently too. Hi, could you share yours?
Just one question before I do mine.
Mhm.
What's an almanac? I was in the bathroom while we were.
I wondered where you were. I thought maybe the camera was just angled away. An almanac is a book that is published every year that a lot of times is about weather patterns to help farmers. But as you can see, Ariansh is holding one up and Josiah has one too. Just a book that's put out for the year with some interesting facts as well.
Here's my sentence. The almanac received permission to attack the lieutenant.
Well, now that you know what almanac is, I guess it doesn't make sense, does it? But thank you for persevering and still writing one.
Basically, no, in that sentence, I'm just saying that the almanac, that the almanac, like the book, got permission to attack the lieutenant.
The book got permission.
Yes.
That's silly. I like it though. That's fun. Okay, Harika?
The banana and the biscuit got almanac from President Trump.
Okay. Sweetheart, we need to stay away from those kind of sentences though. It's fun to do things that are silly every so often, but I want you to really be thinking of how to use these words correctly. So let's stop writing the sentences about the bananas and biscuits, okay, Harika? So that we can really be thinking through how to use these words correctly in a sentence. Let's hear one more from Alexander. Josiah, but you've got to keep yourself on mute. There's a lot of background noise on your end, so can you try to keep that muted, please?
I received a daily almanac.
Almanac?
Almanac. And then I saw there were Pokemon in it.
That probably is realistic that there are some almanacs like the ones that Ariansh and Josiah have that have Pokemon in them. Okay, boys and girls, let's put these away now, and we're going to take out things for well-ordered language now. Oh, you know what, boys and girls? I forgot that today we're doing something a little different for orthography. For well-ordered language. We are going to be writing some words in orthography because we've been learning about contractions. So we're going to be writing something in our orthography notebook where there's a whole place filled with the uses for contraction or for apostrophes, which is the punctuation mark in a contraction. So I would like to review some songs, but we are not going to use our well-ordered language workbook today. We are only using our orthography notebook. Okay, so let's do a few songs, and then we're going to write our words in orthography. Oh no, I brought the wrong one. So hopefully we'll be able to still do this though. Okay, sing the song with me, please, about the types of sentences.
What do?
Could I have Alexander lead us in singing the 4 kinds of sentences?
Yeah, just a sec.
Okay, here we Sentence is a group of words expressing a complete thought. There are 4 kinds of sentences. A declarative sentence makes a statement. Interrogative asks a question. Interrogative sentence gives a command. An interrogative sentence, it's a strong feeling.
Exclamatory sentence.
Sentence is a group. Sentence is a group of words expressing a complete thought. There are 4 kinds of sentences.
Excellent job.
There you go.
Thank you, Alexander. Okay, well, please open up your orthography notebooks now to page 26. And you'll have to help me out because I brought accidentally my old orthography notebook that I used with my class last year. So does page 26 say use of apostrophes at the top? Good, excellent. Okay, so we are going to look today at some of the uses of apostrophes. In our math chapter, we have been talking about how apostrophes can be used in a contraction, but there are a few other ways that we use apostrophes as well. Can you say apostrophe? Apostrophe, good. Now, apostrophes can be used in a few different ways. It shows here possessives and contractions are the 2 ways that we use apostrophes. Can you say possessives and contractions? Okay, now contractions are words that have 2 words that we combine to become 1 word. We join them together with an apostrophe taking the place of the missing letters, like won't, your, he's, she'll, it's, we'd, you'll, or they'd. Those are just some of the examples of contractions we have talked about. Would you please add that to your contraction list? Contractions are the one way we've been talking about recently that we use apostrophes. We combine 2 words with an apostrophe in place of the missing letters. Rishith, that's page 26. Okay. Let me move it down a little bit so that you're able to see all of them. So these are some examples of contractions. You can add others, but those are just some of the examples. Ben, did you finish the contractions? Excellent. Alina, Arshab, are you done with your contractions? Okay. Marcus, it looks like you're done writing. Did you finish this list?
I'm almost done.
Sweetheart, remember how we talked about not unmuting ourselves without permission? Okay, Marcus, let's see those contractions. Can you hold them up to the camera? I'd like everybody to hold theirs up when they are done with just the contractions, and then we'll talk about these possessives. Thank you very much, Kruti. And you can feel free to add extras. We've talked about quite a few contractions. Thank you, Ariansh. That looks great. Thank you, Emma. Now, we don't have space for all of the contractions. There are so many because we talked about all of the pronouns that they can be used with any helping verb, basically. So if we have 23 helping verbs and 8 pronouns, that's 23 times 8 possibilities. Wow. So we do not have space for all of those. But these are just some examples of the ones we've talked about. Okay, so an apostrophe is what takes the place of letters in a contraction. But an apostrophe can also be used for words that are possessive. Can somebody tell me what they think of when you hear the word possessive or somebody possesses something? What does that mean? If you possess something. Does anybody know what that means? Alexander?
I missed all the words.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, and you still have time to write the contractions. We're not doing any of this part yet. Just the contractions, please write. So you're not that behind.
This is contraction.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, Ty, you wrote others as well. That works too. Thank you. Excellent. Samhita wrote other contractions, including more that have the not as part of it. Helping verb like couldn't. Let's add that to the list.
Miss Gardner, I actually wrote it till the bottom. I don't have any room to write any.
Okay, so words that are possessive, let's go back to that. And it sounds like a lot of you maybe haven't heard about this before. If something is possessive, it means belonging to that person. This was from last year, so I had a student named Dominic. So I wrote as an example, Dominic apostrophe S, which means belonging to Dominic, as in Dominic's younger brother or Dominic's Pokemon cards. The apostrophe S means belonging to him. We could put Josiah as an example in here. Josiah apostrophe S.
Miss Gardner, can you move it to the side, please?
Yeah.
Now, technically, there's a lot of back and forth with people about if something ends with an S, whether you add an apostrophe. Let's see, do any of the people in this class have a name ending with S? Marcus. Okay, let's use Marcus as an example for this one. Generally, what we would say for a name that ends with an S, like Marcus, we still add apostrophe S, like Marcus's VR headset is coming in the mail. Or did you get it already?
I got already, but you have to be over 18 or else it'll royally screw up your eyesight. Like, so say if I threw a ball at myself, but I would think it would be down on near my leg, but it's really down, it's really up near my chest.
Oh, so it just gets quite confusing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so if it belongs to Marcus, put apostrophe S after the name. If it is something like this, which is called a plural possessive, plural means more than one. Possessive means belonging to them. So what if there's lots of dogs and we're talking about the dog's leashes? Now that is plural, and we're talking about belonging to that plural subject. All we do is add an apostrophe at the end. There's lots of students, that's plural. We put an apostrophe after the plural. But if it is a word ending with S, a singular word ending with S, we add apostrophe S. Okay. Now, what if we want to say the possessive of a pronoun? Instead of the word I, we say my. We change the word altogether. We don't say I's, as in like belonging to me. You wouldn't say I apostrophe S. So we change the pronoun altogether if we want to make a pronoun a possessive. And I'd like you to write these down. These are all of the possessive forms of the pronouns that we've learned. I turns into my, you, your, he is his, she is her, it is its, with no apostrophe. We becomes our, you, your, they, and their. So we just have a new pronoun to show possession for a pronoun. We just change the word instead of adding an apostrophe. Okay. As soon as you are done with that, you can flip to the back of your notebook. We're going to write the words from today's lesson, but I'm going to have to just tell you what to write because I have the wrong notebook again, so I'm not going to be able to write in this one. Well, actually, I guess I could write. It'll just be a different page than all of you.
Is that the word chandelier?
Chandelier? Oh, yeah. That was the last word that we wrote in orthography for last year.
I have a chandelier in my house.
Ooh, fancy. Okay.
I've seen the world's biggest chandelier. It's at a museum.
Which
Like,
museum?
I don't know. It was somewhere in Las Vegas.
Somewhere in Las Vegas has the biggest chandelier in the world?
Yeah, in one of the museums.
Very cool. Okay, so when you're done with this, we're going to flip to the back of our notebook to write down the words from today's lesson. Also, take a moment for a little stretch break. Feel free to get some water. Okay, and we are almost ready for our math time. So this was our well-ordered language time. Occasionally we'll do grammar stuff in orthography because your orthography notebook has places for punctuation marks, parts of speech, and a lot of the things that we talk about in well-ordered language. Could somebody help me out to tell your classmates what page we're writing the words on? What lesson? Or what page is the new lesson going to be on? Kruti? Is it 50? Okay. I think I only remembered that because we wrote lesson 49. Wait.
It's for
Today is lesson 48, right?
yeah, but the page is 49.
Okay, so lesson 48, but on page 49. Okay. Let's see if I've got the same one from last year. Oh, I do. That works out. I can just show you guys the one from last year. Okay, so number 1 is going to be acquire. Please write acquire. Number 2 is receive. Receive. Number 3 is almanac. And 4 is lieutenant. Okay. Let's check. So acquire, receive, almanac, and lieutenant. Although lieutenant can also be an adjective. Check that your spelling matches mine and markings as well. And once you're done with that, we're going to write on page 36, should be still page 36 for you guys, which is our unusual phonogram page. This is going to be a little more filled out. And it's going to give you a preview, actually, of a word we're going to learn later this week. Now, we've had some Latin and Greek unusual phonograms. This is the first time we've had a French phonogram. So I want you to have a French column over here, creating a French column. And we're just going to write the word lieutenant for that unusual phonogram IEU, which says an oo sound.
What page?
36, it should be. IEU says an oo sound. Okay, and then I think I said just one spot, but there's actually one more. We're going to write the words acquire and receive on the synonym page because they are near synonyms. Oh, and I did that last year with my students too. So it's already here. Acquire and receive.
Which
Got
page?
the little Christmas tree drawing.
Which page?
This is page 12. And this does not have the markings. Let's add those markings.
Miss Gardner,
Yes?
it looks like I only have 3. Up
That's
to 3.
because this is the notebook from last year. Just focus on the words only.
But can we write that on 4?
Yes, sweetheart. I'm just showing you the words. Once again, I have last year's notebook, so. Excuse me. Okay, as soon as you're done with that, take a little stretch break, move around, get out of your chair for a bit, and then we're going to move on to some math time. But feel free to move around and stretch. So acquire and receive are those 2 words. Whoa, Alexander. Is that on a bunk bed or something? You held on to something. Oh, it's your chair. That's a cool chair. Look like a gymnast. Well, is anybody excited to play in the snow after our call today? I hope some of you guys get a chance to get out there and play in the snow before it melts.
My sister is getting changed to go into the snow because my sister has a few breaks from the classes.
Okay. Yes, Ariane?
I think the snow's melting because it's sunny outside.
It's getting sunnier, yeah, but there was so much of it that I bet it's not all gonna melt. I bet we'll still have some.
And we had this emoji floaty that we could go sledding on our driveway with snow, and it was for the pool because we don't have like a sled or something like that, so we could.
But it still held up. It didn't pop or burst.
Yeah, but
Good.
we're gonna maybe do it because
Growing up, we used to have a toboggan that was like an actual wooden toboggan. But then there was also something we had that was like this kind of curved disc that you sat on to slide down. Just made of plastic. It's pretty cheap. It kind of looks like a lid, like a trash can lid, but it's more curved.
I've seen it before.
Has anybody ever used one of those before for sledding? Did anybody else improvise like Emma and do like a floaty or something else for sledding? The floaty is a good idea. Ben, did you go sledding yesterday? Marcus, you want to share?
I did go sledding yesterday. Okay. I did go sledding yesterday at the resort because there were some pretty good hills, but I didn't really sled. I really just used my jacket as a sled.
Oh,
It went well though.
I'm glad that you still did it, even without a proper sled. That's better than nothing.
I had to put my jacket next to the fire for the last 3 hours.
To warm it up.
Then I was just stuck in my sweater.
Okay, I'll hear from a couple others a little bit later. But let's go ahead and take out your math notebook. We are going to do a little review today, going over some of the types of questions you'll see on a test for math that you'll have on Wednesday. We're finishing up our multiplication unit. We have learned about multiplying with and without regrouping when you have 2 or 3 digit numbers, like 24 times 6. Now, if we have a problem like 24 times 6, that is not one that we've memorized, but who can explain how we solve that? How do we solve one of those multiplication problems that we don't have completely memorized? Alexander?
You can think of what's 4 times 6. You probably don't have that memorized. 6, 12, 18, 24, right? I think it's 24.
Yeah, 6 times 4 is 24. So you solve those ones, and then
you put the 4 there and then put 2 on top of the 2. Huh. So what's 2 times 6? 12 plus 2 more. Let's see. 14.
very good. So yep, you solve the ones place, and then you solve the tens place, and you regroup if needed, just like addition. Very similar to addition, except that we multiply each of those place values times the same number. Okay, so open up your math notebook, and we are going to be doing some problems on a little review today.
You could count by 6, and then you can see how much.
Exactly. Yep, solve those ones place, and then you solve the tens place, multiplying by the same number. Okay. Number 1, first problem for today, has 6 times 9 tens. Now, 6 times 9 tens can be done mentally if we know what 6 times 9 equal. Who can tell me what 6 times 9 tens is of these options? And we don't need to write this down yet.
What page?
Please keep yourself muted. This is just you working in your notebook, following along on the screen. Josiah, which of these options shows us 6 times 9 tens?
54.
So 6 times 9 is 54. What would 6 times 9 tens? Tens means 1, 0. Josiah, what's the answer to 6 times 9 tens? Which means 90. Write it down if you need to on your notebook paper. 6 times 90. 9 tens is 90, so keep in mind that's 1, 0. So Josiah, 54 is the answer to 6 times 9. What would be the answer to 6 times 9 tens?
$540.
Excellent. Answer C, 540. Okay, boys and girls, in your notebooks, would you write down this next one, which says multiply 312 by 3? Okay. Do you remember which number goes on top when we stack our numbers for a problem like this? Would it be 312 on top or the 3 on top? The 312 goes on top and then multiply by 3. This is one that will have no regrouping because the product of each of these numbers times 3 is going to be less than 10. Sahanasri, could you unmute yourself and share your answer when you finish?
Wait, what's the question? 352 times 7?
No, this one, number 2, 312 by 3.
Okay.
We'll get to that one next, but can you do 312 times 3? If you're finished with that one, boys and girls, you can write out 352 times 7 and solve that. This one requires no regrouping. 312 times 3. Let us know when you're ready, Sahamasri. Ooh. Sahanasri, are you done now? Excellent, 936, because the 3 times 2 in the ones place is 6, 3 times 1 in the tens place is 3, 3 times 3 in the hundreds place is 9. Arshad, could you help us with number 3 now? 352 times 7.
Two times 7 equals 14. So put the 4 under the 7 and the 1.
Here. 1. Excellent.
1 over the 5. Then 5 times 7, 5 times 7 equals 35. So you put the 5 under.
But we need to
5.
add that extra 1 on top that we regrouped.
Okay. Yeah. And it equals 36. So we put the 6 under that 5. Then we put the 3 over.
Excellent.
The 103. Then 3 times 7 equals 21. So we put the 1 under that 3.
But we need to add the extra 3, remember. Did you write this on your notebook?
Oh,
It probably is confusing
Yeah.
because you're not writing it in your notebook and just looking off the screen. And then that gets confusing because you're not seeing those numbers. But if we have the extra 3 there that we're regrouping, add that on, and what do you
Okay.
get at the bottom?
Wait. Oh, it equals 24.
Because we added that
So we
extra
put-
3, exactly.
What?
Very good. Once you add that extra 3 to 21, it's 24. Okay, so the answer from here is 2,464. Okay, next we've got a few word problems. There will be a couple of times on the test on Wednesday that you'll need to draw out a bar model to show your work. Remember that for bar model problems in multiplication, we can have multiple groups. We only have to label one group always though, because multiplication means equal groups. Now, Ty, can you unmute yourself and read this story problem? And let's write out the steps in our notebook.
Piper runs 143 miles in a month. How many miles will she run in 6 months?
So, as a word problem, as a bar model, how many groups will there be?
So there will be 6 groups of 143.
Excellent. 6 groups of 143. And how do we solve for the total number of miles in 6 months?
So you take one, so you do one, yeah, so you, so it's 143. No. Okay, so yes. So you do 143 times 6.
Excellent. I'd like everybody to write that on their paper right now and solve 143 times 6.
So.
And Ty, I'll have you share your answer in just a moment. Let's wait until other people have a time to solve 143 times 6.
Oh, Miss Gardner.
Uh-huh.
Piper's the name of the beagle who lives next door.
Oh, cute. I think that's such a cute dog.
Piper lives right out the, like, in that house, in this house.
So let's go ahead and go over the answers. Thumbs up, boys and girls, if you finished. Good. Okay, Ty, can you share your answer to 143 times 6?
So what I did is that I did 3 times 6, which equals 18. So I put the 8, then I carried the 1. So then I did 6 times 4, which equals 24. But then I added another 6 because of the 1 that I carried. So that would be 30. And so I put the 0 and I carried the 3. So then I did 6 times 1. So then I did 6 times 1, which equals 6 times another 3. So that would be 24.
Okay, I'm sorry, Ty, can you go through that one more time? I think that your steps are a little off. Okay, what's the first step that you did?
3 times 6, which equals 18.
Good.
So I put the 8 and I carried the 1.
Good.
So then I did 6 times 4, which equals 18.
Okay, so that's where it's a little off. Okay, sorry, I misheard something and I wasn't sure what it was. 6 times 4 is 24. That's where the problem is.
Yes.
Okay, so 6 times 4 is 24. Now, if that's the case, what happens next?
Well, there's also a 1 from the 18 that I got for 6 times
Good.
3.
Mm-hmm.
So I added another 6.
So if 6
So I
times
added
4 is 24, and we had 1 extra that we're regrouping, we're going to add 24 plus the 1, which equals 25. Does that make sense? You can look at my screen to see that.
Okay, 25. There we go. So then,
Okay, now what do we do?
6 times 1, which equals 6, plus 2 equals 8.
Excellent. So the answer
Is 858.
858. Very good, which is one of the options. Option A.
Yay.
Okay. So that is one of the types of questions you'll have. You'll also have some questions on the test that are, once again, multiplying with and without regrouping and solving problems like this, where it's 6 times 19. I'm going to have on Bright Thinker a few different problems for you to complete on your own that are like this to do for review today. And then we'll continue reviewing also tomorrow before Wednesday's test. Okay. Now, boys and girls, as a special snow day treat, we're going to end early today. No reading groups today. And you've got some things posted on Bright Thinker. We are just going to end our class a little bit early. I hope that you are able to enjoy the snow outside. As one last thing before we go, we're going to say our new poem together, For Want of a Nail. And hopefully some of you remember this from when we did it with Black Beauty. Okay, so let's say it together. For Want of a Nail by Anonymous, meaning we don't know who wrote this poem. For want of a nail, the shoe was lost. Sorry, let me pull up a different one that's going to show it better. Okay. For want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For want of a horse, the rider was lost. For want of a rider, the battle was lost. For want of a battle, the kingdom was lost. And all for the want of a horseshoe nail. So one little nail is loose. And what could happen? A whole war could be lost. Because every little thing has consequences and can add up. Isn't that interesting? Let's try that one more time together. For want of a nail, what happens? The shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, what happens? The horse was lost. For want of a horse, what could happen? The rider was lost. For want of a rider, one rider, what could happen? The battle was lost. For want of a battle, what could happen? The war was lost. Or sorry, the kingdom was lost. I said that wrong. The kingdom was lost. And all for the want of a horseshoe nail. Aryant, can you try doing it for us?
For want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For want of a horse, the rider was lost. For want of a rider, the battle was lost. For want of a battle, the kingdom was lost. All for the want of a horseshoe nail.
Great job. Okay, boys and girls. Well, last Monday before our Christmas break, and it's a snow day. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.
All the snow is frozen.
Okay, and I'll let you guys go a little early today. Enjoy the rest of your snowy day.
Bye,
I'll talk to you all tomorrow.
Bye, Miss I'm leaving.
Yes, Arsha?
Bye, Miss Gardner.
How many homework
Oh, Miss-
assignments?
There should be one for every subject. I was a little late getting some in there, but there's a science, a history, a literature, and I'm going to post the math. No well-ordered language, though, today.
Okay.
Okay, bye. And I'll get the math in there in just a bit. Bye, everybody.
Excuse me.
Aw, she left.
Okay.